to see you again. That was simply delusion, followed up with confusion. That was just substitution for a lonely bed. So that's impressive, how much you're messing with my feelings in my heart. Oh, yeah, that's impressive, how much you're messing with my feelings in my heart. Oh, yeah. I'm going back to the table round. Oh, they saving us up for the stable friend of mine. Cause they know all this time that I was out my mind, thinking you were the one, that it was love, feelings were strong. I should've known, I should know. I don't know what I was thinking. Let it be more than drinking and going back to your place, never to see you again. That was simply delusion, followed up with confusion. That was just substitution for a lonely bed. So that's impressive, how much you're messing with my feelings in my heart. Oh, yeah, that's impressive, how much you're messing with my feelings in my heart. Oh, yeah. No, you don't care, no, you don't care, no, you don't care, no, you don't care. Could be good, then you fade, then you fade away. No, you don't care, no, you don't care, no, you don't care. Could be good, then you fade away. I don't know what I was thinking. Let it be more than drinking and going back to your place, never to see you again. That was simply delusion, followed up with confusion. That was just substitution for your lonely bed. So that's impressive, how much you're missing. My feelings in my heart, in my heart. Yeah, that's impressive, how much you're missing. My feelings in my heart. Oh, yeah. How much you're messing with me. 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 How much you're messing with me.
Every day I see miserable people doing things they hate just to fit in. I know it's easier to get along peacefully, but have you ever thought
missing sleep, what to do? Could somebody come and take me away? I've been in the deep without you, and I got it in my head night and day. But we are one step closer. We're all in this together. Put your hand in mine. Yeah, we are one step closer. Can you feel it, baby? It's the end of the line. It looks like we made it. Let's get it on. We got it going, moving on. Oh, it looks like we made it. Let's get it on. We got it going, stay strong. Oh, it looks like we. It looks like we. Yeah, it looks like we made it. Let's get it on. We got it going, stay strong. Oh, it looks like we made it. Wake me from this dream I've been in. I need to get in closer to you. I swear you my vaccine. Oh baby, I've been waiting for you. Now we are one step closer. We're all in this together. Put your hand in mine. Yeah, we are one step closer. Can you feel it, baby? It's the end of the line. It looks like we made it. Let's get it on. We got it going, moving on. Oh, it looks like we made it. Let's get it on. We got it going, stay strong. Oh, it looks like we. It looks like we. Yeah, it looks like we made it. Let's get it on. We got it going, stay strong. Oh, it looks like we made it. Yeah, it looks like we. It looks like we. Yeah, it looks like we. It looks like we made it. It looks like we. Oh, it looks like we made it.
What's up, everybody? I'm actually kind of proud of myself because that was a pretty clean transition, not gonna lie. It's been a while since I've gotten a clean one in. It's been a while since we've had back-to-back shows too. But here we are. Generation Orange, you guys know who we are. Mark,
What's going on, Sean?
you know, lots of work stuff. Been pretty busy.
That's always, man. That's always the
Both of us though. That's the thing. Like normally, you know, one of us will be busy for a while, but this week has been crazy. But yeah.
Man.
I was just gonna ask, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, I can't complain. You know, I woke up this morning, so it's all good. You know, it's always a blessing to wake up another day.
True that.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, been busy. You know, obviously with the 4th of July and all that stuff going around that, obviously, and then kind of cramming in 5 days of work into 3.5 days, really. So, it's a little bit of a struggle, but, we try to make it happen. And, thankfully up to now, I've been able to be a part of 2 shows this week, actually. Yesterday, I was on with Finn and him and Rudy. And today I'm here on Generation Orange, man, So all good.
Yeah, for sure. No, I didn't see the link drop, so I guess you're gonna have to drop that link on Twitter for me to the show once it's up, because I'm assuming it's not up yet if I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think he sent it out. I'll retweet it again for later on off of the Generation Orange Twitter page, so that way everybody can take a look at it. But yeah, very interesting topics, man. Phil is a fun guy. A little bit different.
Fun guy. That is, boy, that is the epitome of an unintentional pun and slip of the tongue if I've ever heard one. A fun guy.
Yeah, so I mean, we had a little bit of nice chat, not just Dynamo stuff, but life stuff. So it's all good. But other than that, Sean, I mean, it was a busy week leading up to 4th of July. A lot of things happening in the city of Houston, a lot of events, a lot of commotion, a lot of how do I say it? A lot of HHs out there. The airport event obviously was a success. Hector Herrera came out, with his family out of Bush to a gathering of people. It seemed like at least 100, 150 people there, which was an amazing sight to see. All the videos and all the posts on social media was great. All the pictures from the people that we know that, shared their pictures with us. Shout out to all of you guys. And then obviously the event on Friday at Post in downtown. Obviously, they had the band, about the Young's band playing in the background. Everything was crazy, legit. Nice showing out there. Hector Herrera out there signing jerseys, kissing babies, all that good stuff. And then the mural Saturday evening, and when I saw it, man, they leaked it out a little earlier than what they were expecting to, but it was out there in the open for people to see already. So. Man, what a fantastic mural, man. It was a legit mural. And shout out to the young lady who did it. Her name is Liz. Hopefully we can get her on the show here to talk about it here. Maybe next week I'm going to reach out to her, see what's up with that. But man, real badass looking mural. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no. When I saw pictures of it on social, then that's where I first actually saw it. I was like, damn, that's clean. Very clean. You can definitely, it's eye catching, which that's what you hope for a mural like that. And it fits where it's at, which is great. And yeah, I thought the turnout from the pictures too looked pretty good for a painting event such as that. So yeah, shout out to everybody who went.
Yeah, for sure. And the crazy thing about her and this mural is the first mural doing with spray paint. She's a chalk artist prior to all this. This is the first time doing anything with doing something with spray paint. So I mean, dude, for that to be her first one, it looks amazing. So, but yeah, man, shout out to her. Shout out to everybody who went out Saturday night. The pictures and the videos and all the hype stuff on social media. Just, I mean, like I said, it was great. And then obviously, we get to Sunday night, with the game. We go out there. I was hanging out with Serge at Pitch 25. Shout out to the Heineken people. Free beers for everybody over there, and then obviously shout out to the Ultra Gold people as well. Giving us free Ultra Gold for the games. So we had a lot of alcohol consumed that day. It was a great time, and even the best thing about it was when we went to the stadium, the amount of people there, man. It was an awesome atmosphere, man. It was great to see. Unfortunately, the events that we wanted to happen didn't happen. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But I mean, just the atmosphere, the crowd, the vibes, everybody was just enjoying themselves, having a great time, and it was good to see, man. It was good to see. And I'm expecting bigger and better things for this upcoming Saturday against Frisco. So we'll see what happens with that. But anything else, Sean, you want to add before we get into the show?
No, we're going to hit it tonight. Everything I want to talk about, we've already kind of gently, tossed out in terms of topics for tonight. So I think all that I need to say is going to be said. So I'm ready. Let's dive into it, man. Let's get it going.
Sounds good, man. Obviously the show, I wish we could start the show with something positive, but we had a match this past Sunday against Charlotte FC, the new expansion team in MLS. This is our first time ever facing them. They came to PNC Stadium and made history. They got their first road win in franchise history. Unfortunately, it came courtesy of the Dynamo, but obviously, shout out to those guys for doing what they do. But yeah, man, it was a kind of a disappointing moment because like I said, everything leading up to that match, it was just like at an all-time high. The vibes, the atmosphere, the fans, everybody was having a good time. Everybody was liquored up, alcohol was flowing, and everybody was just having a great time. And everywhere I saw, everybody was smiling. So, it was just great. And then obviously, I invited a couple of friends to come out with me and, we're talking and stuff like that. And they're asking me, what's the scoreline going to be? I'm like, oh, dude, there's no way the Dynamo are losing this game. 3-0, easy, whatever. Charlotte might score a goal, but I told them, 3-0, got this. It was perfectly set up. You got the expansion team in your house. They're not really a formidable team or a complete team per se at the moment. So it was like everything was laid out perfect. But obviously, Dynamo gonna Dynamo, and it's a bit of a shame. Dynamo obviously lost 2-1. Own goal by Martinez Vera and a goal by I can't remember the guy's name. Sorry, unfortunately, but obviously, and a goal by one Fafa Pico, who we thought was in, but who we thought was out. Then he's in, and then he was out, and now apparently he's back in. I don't know what's going on with that, but I guess we'll talk about that a little bit later on too as well. But Sean, your thoughts about the game? Obviously, I don't think you went to the game. You saw it on television. So, your perspective from the TV point of view.
Yeah, man, it did not look good on TV either, to be honest. The vibe definitely came through. You could hear the supporters groups very loudly. You could hear La Banda very clearly. Missing those early chances, being kind of disjointed, not able to get those connections early, chances just going awry, passes not quite finding their mark, all of those things, it is commonplace and it's said a lot, but missing those chances, you almost always, in soccer, you rue the missed chances. And there were tons of them early in that match. It felt like we were dominating the first, I would say 15 to 20. And then after that 20th minute, things just kind of flipped on their heels and Charlotte really were pushing back on us. And towards the end of that, middle to end of that second half, you really felt like the Dynamo were on the back foot. And I don't know if it was, just fatigue or exhaustion or what, but there were players out there who should have been fresh enough that looked like they've been playing 90 minutes for 8 straight matches with no breaks, like a day rest or something. I've not seen a team capitulate to that extent, that at that level of a match at home with the vibe and the atmosphere the way that it was, against a team coming in that doesn't have to deal with such heat and humidity. I haven't seen that in a very long time. Because as bad as the Dynamo have historically been, this was one of the worst results. You made note of, it was against an expansion team. They hadn't won a single match on the road this season, very Dynamo-like, if you would, if you will. But it was just really, it was disheartening to see, because this is the Dynamo that we got used to the last number of seasons, and is not the Dynamo that we expected, anticipated, or would have thought even remotely possible to see pop their or rear their ugly heads again at this point in the season. And I say that because we did bring in a couple of players in the offseason that have helped change, for the most part, the trajectory of this team to some extent. We're in the process of, obviously, another one is going to be debuting on Saturday. So it's just, I look at it as a missed opportunity for a number of reasons, but I think the biggest missed opportunity was you had such a great vibe, you had such a great atmosphere, you had a number of new people that had bought tickets and shown up, and then you put that level of performance out there, and we talk all the time that winning cures what ails you, but losing to that extent with the hype and the vibe the way that it was, it's not going to take a long time for that vibe to go away. Yeah, Ache is going to help bring that in, but, and I know we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but at what point does that vibe start to dissipate because the Dynamo still aren't winning? I know there's people that have the opinion that, well, this is still a rebuilding season. We're not there. There's really looking more towards what happens in the off season in terms of transfers in and players going out, because the front office from the general manager perspective is a little bit hamstrung or tied because of the contracts that he inherited. Okay, that's all good and well, but there are still moves that you can make, and this team just hasn't made them yet. Ache, it really feels like, to be very honest with you, and I know this is not the case, but it feels this way as a fan, that the Dynamo kind of just said to fans, Ache is enough for you. We did what you asked us to do, and we brought in a big name player that people will recognize, and that's got to be good enough for you, right? Like, this is going to be, so anyways, go ahead. But that's where I'm at right now. Mentally.
And just to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, I mean, just like as a professional, as a player, man, when you see that atmosphere and you haven't had that all season, that in itself should kind of motivate you to kind of go out there and try to show all you can. I would like to say that they were playing down to their opponent, but honestly, it's no different than what we saw when they lost 4-0 to who was it, Colorado or Real Salt Lake, one of those guys, I can't remember who it was, or when or the previous game when they lost to Portland. It's just, for some reason there's something not connecting with the guys as far as chemistry wise goes. And even then, as whatever bad team, right? Just to have the I guess I don't know if dignity is the right word, or just to have the pride and within yourself to go out there and try your hardest, because, like, dude, the fans showed out. The fans showed out because of all the hype, all the television press, all the billboards, all the social media hype, all the videos. Yes, it might have been centered around one player at the moment, but at the end of the day, it's still about the whole team, the Dynamo, and you're part of that. And you're going to be that team. We're hoping when we look back at this and hopefully the team is striving here, sooner rather than later, right? But you're the team, the foundation that is going to lead to that. Hopefully, this is like July 9th is a day where we see where it's for new beginnings, a new era of Dynamo soccer or Dynamo football, however you want to say it. And the precursor of that, it was just, man, they really dropped the ball. They really dropped the ball. And like I said, I don't understand what it was. It just seemed like they weren't into it. As players. The lineup, we had Darwin, we had Quintero starting, who's, we've been talking about, hey, why doesn't he start? He played the full game, the full 90, something that we've been hampering about, hey, Quintero's a veteran. He's your best playmaker. Let him play until he tells you himself he's ready for a switch or a substitution. You let that guy go out there and play so you can link up with Sebas. He was out there. We had our rookie Thor up there, who we have a lot of, passion about, because, we see how much drive he has and how motivated he is to show out in his rookie season and show that the Dynamo made the correct decision and drafting him with the fourth pick overall, or third or fourth pick overall, and just to go and just to see the performance that this team gave was just like, man, if it wasn't for the fact that I was having such a great time in the supporter section along with my friends and having as many cold bruises as I had, I would be a little bit more upset. But I had such a great time in the crowd, pre-gaming, and then at the game, I just had a great time. But yeah, the stuff on the pitch, I had to come back home and re-look at the game because I didn't really pay attention. I just paid attention when, unfortunately, Matias Veras, got hit with the ball and he, own goaled it or whatever. And then obviously when the Dynamo let the second goal score or whatever, and then the Fafa goal. But other than that, man, the game was really not there. There's nothing to be excited about.
You know, I've noticed with Paolo Ball, as I shall call it, or Naga Ball, take your pick. I like Paolo Ball better. But Paolo Ball, he's a big fan of service from out wide and the expectation that players who are in or near the box will try to get to the far post for the most part. The crosses seem to be geared mostly to the far post and not so much the penalty spot. And in that match, I can't tell you the number of times that crosses were either overhit or hit to an area of the pitch where the player who was expected, the winger that was expected to be on that far post, had either already cut it inside and become inverted, or they stayed too far out wide and they weren't anywhere near the far post. You know, they were just out on the far wide flank. You know, I still question this continued trotting of Memo out there. I mean, yes, he's had a couple of decent I wouldn't call them good matches. They've been decent. You know, and to your point, you know, we've been clamoring, asking for Darwin Quintero to start and play, you know, a lot more, and we've seen it this season. And Quintero's brought you as much as I feel like he can bring you in terms of, you know, at his age, he cannot carry a team anymore. We know that. But what you're getting out of your wingers, you know, and I think somebody in the Surge Discord brought this up, but if Thor is your best winger right now, that is a scary proposition, not because Thor's not finding himself as an adequate winger, but because this is not a natural winger. This is a forward, a you know, center forward that is playing as a winger. And we saw the same thing where they tried to do it with Christian Ramirez before Paolo and Pat got here. You know, and we saw it with the way that Wilmer tried to play Morrow out wide at times as well. So I don't know what the urge and the desire is. And again, I'm okay with Thor out wide, but I have to question why there is nobody else. And yes, all credit to Fafa. Really, let's be honest, all credit to Darwin Quintero. If he doesn't see it and doesn't make that play in terms of the pass, it doesn't matter how good the finish is, it doesn't happen. That pass was pinpoint perfect. It was onside. It was very close. If it wasn't onside, it was very close. But the goal stood. Fafa did what he needed to do, but I still don't. I don't get it from the perspective of you have opportunities to move guys. I mean, there's no doubt there are. Sure, your guys may not be very valuable right now, but let's be fair. What value are you going to get at the end of the season when their contract expires? You know?
And just to add to that, I mean, you know, look, obviously the last couple of weeks, you know, have been whether or not Fafa's going to leave or Fafa's not going to play or if he's getting transferred or whatever. But if you knew he was going to play and you're going to give him that amount of minutes, then why not just start him? He's a natural winger. Yes, obviously he has his flaws. You know, obviously I always joke around about how many he's going to give you about 3-4 offsides a game, you know, but that's his natural position. Excuse me. And if you knew he was available, then why didn't you play him? You know, that's that. Excuse me. That's the reason. That's the reason why sometimes it gets a little frustrating with the player selection from Pablo, because. Yes, look, give Thor the minutes, you know, let him grow and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm all for that. You know, you spend a high draft pick for him, you know, so obviously utilize the kid, you know, and everything he's shown on the pitch, he's motivated. Like I said prior, he wants to go out there and show that he was worth that high pick, right? But like you mentioned, Sean, he's playing out of position. You know, it's really his first time ever playing on the wide position. I mean, from the little bit of text that I've seen from his college career, he's always been a center forward for the most part. And obviously you're not gonna put him ahead of Sebas. So, I mean, you know, it's an unfortunate thing, but if you have natural wingers on the bench, Fafa, Pasher, dare I say it, what's the other kids? Beto Avila, you know, I was thinking the other guy, but I forgot about Beto. But
yeah. Thiago, you were thinking of Thiago?
No, I was thinking Baird.
Oh, I do. So real quick, actually, try not to forget what you were saying. So Corey Baird, I want to bring this up. Shout out to certain people who know who they are. I don't know if I need to actually give them credit or not. They know who they are. If I need to give them credit, they'll say something. But it has been shared with me, at the very least, that As of right now, Corey Baird, however you want to pronounce it, cannot pass a fitness test. That is a problem. We have a coach whose whole job is to get these guys up to fitness levels and fitness standards to play in MLS matches. Yes, he did have a minor injury at some point in the season. In fact, I think he's been injured every season he's been here, all 2 of them. But I mean, it is clear to me that Corey Baird is not the same player he was when he got to LAFC. And he's clearly not the same player even since he initially got here and was playing in those early days, or not early days, but in those first days when he got here. He was a force to be reckoned with when he first got here. He was creating opportunities left and right. I have to wonder if the guy can't pass a fitness test. And fitness has been a consistent issue with players for the Dynamo for many seasons now. We've brought in new fitness coaches, new fitness regimens, new data scientists, new nutritionists. I think we've overhauled that side of the world, if you will, or that side of the equation. Why is that not changing? And if we're real and we're honest with ourselves, this summer heat in Houston is no joke. Maybe they need to approach summers a little bit different. I mean, to be real with you, like, you don't need to be running these guys into the gosh darn ground during the week if you know that they're going to be playing 3 matches in 8 days. Just a thought, man. Just a thought.
No, for sure. I mean, and it's like I said, and it's not just the offense's fault. I'm gonna get to the defense here pretty soon as well, because there's one guy too. I mean, who was supposed to be the anchor of our defense. He's supposed to be the captain, the leader, this and that. We spend a lot of GAM, TAM, or whatever you want to call it, to bring him in. And again, another Achilles heel that the Dynamo have been dealing with for the last decade is finding that anchor, that captain to man our back four. And Tim Parker ain't it, man. Tim Parker is not it. It's just sad for me to say it, to be honest, because I really had high hopes to finally have somebody there, to really hold things down for the defense. And obviously at the beginning, it looked kind of good, whatever, but I have no idea what's going on. I don't know if he's still injured or he still has lingering injury, whatever effects towards him. And if he does, then dude, sit out. The games that Barlow has played, he's been decent. He's done really well. Why isn't he given the opportunity? So that's my concern as well. I understand that you're trying to get your A team out there, quote unquote, and have all your main guys out there so that way they can get as much time to get the chemistry. That way, when you plug in Hector, it's a well-running old machine. But you got to go with who's best available, who's fit first and foremost before anything. And like I said, Parker didn't look good in that game. In my opinion, Stairs, I mean, he played an okay game, but I mean, he's not getting, any props from me either, I mean, obviously London and Zach are going to go move up and whatever. And like I said, Matira falls back to help those guys along. And, and unfortunately for him, like I said this yesterday on Finn's show that my worst player of the game, unfortunately, goes to him because you give up an own goal. That's an automatic for me. That's why Valentin got so many bag player of the games for me last season. But whatever it is, whatever's going on. I mean, like I said, as far as fitness wise, I mean, these guys, you have to understand that you're gonna play in hot, humid nights here in Houston between May all the way up until August, September. And if we can't handle that, then how are we supposed to defend our home field, our supposedly home field advantage, where we're the ones that out here struggling in this humidity and heat, and you got a team from the East Coast and Charlotte that comes out here and just bulldozes us in the first half like nothing.
Yeah, I think the epitome of where our frustrations are shown out on the pitch. A lot of it has to do with the hustle and the grind of the team. And I'm not saying these players aren't putting in the effort, in practice or otherwise. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I don't think it has anything to do with the talent level of these players. It doesn't, because look, these players are going to go on to other teams at some point, and they're going to do just fine. You examine it from various angles, and there's so many things in different parts of the season that you go, yeah, this team is figuring things out. But then it feels like a week or two later, and suddenly you're in a totally different. You're looking at a different team. You're looking at a completely different team. Inconsistency is a very common thing with a new coach and new players that come in. But at some point, that's got to become that's got to be.
Yeah, I mean, and we all understand, like you mentioned earlier, Sean. I mean, obviously we still know this is a rebuilding phase. A majority of the team from last season is still on the squad this season. There's a lot of contracts that we can't get rid of because of the prior regime and things of that nature. We all understand that. That's fine, But when you bring in a brand new coach, a brand new fresh breath of fresh air, as you want to call it or whatever, like there should be some type of motivation as professionals as to be wanting to still play for your spot on the squad. I mean, you're a professional soccer player. A lot. How many people would love to be in your shoes or in your cleats? It's something where. I don't know if it's being acknowledged enough, and like I said, I hope Paulo kind of ripped into their asses, into them, sorry, during halftime and at the end of the game, because like I said, from the standpoint of a fan, when I rewatched it back on TV when I got home, the effort wasn't there.
No, you're 100% right, and trust me, it definitely. The lack of effort was definitely very visible on the TV, watching on the TV. I made note in the Surge Discord when I saw it, but there were multiple points where it was the only player moving on the pitch that was in a Dynamo kit at the time was the player with the ball. Everybody else was either just slowly walking or standing still waiting for a pass, whatever it was. And I've seen that far too often this season. And to me, that's a coaching issue. And look, I'm not gonna, you got to give Paulo enough time to really truly integrate, his style with with the players that he has. But I also think we're halfway through the season at this point, and we've seen enough of the same type of inconsistencies that we've seen for years that you still have to question, is Paulo having the impact and the change that we are hoping for?
But let me ask you this question real quick, Sean, before we move on to the next topic,
Sure.
move on to the poll question of the day. I feel it's getting kind of close to what was happening to Tab at the end of the last season, where you're getting to a point where you keep running not the same players. And like I said, look, I'm sure there's a lot of players that do really well, that do exceptionally well in practice, and I think Memo's probably one of those players. That's why he's getting as much time as he gets on.
He
on
better
the
do
pitch.
damn well in practice, because he ain't doing anything on the pitch.
But I also know that there's players that don't do as well in practice, but they do phenomenal in games. When does it come to a coach's mind or into their thought process, or maybe when does an assistant point it out and say, you know what? It's not working with XYZ. Let's put in this guy. I know he might not have the chances. I know he's still probably kind of struggling to catch up with whatever's going on. But let's give him a couple 25 minutes to actually really do something out there, because individual talent sometimes can overcome the mistakes that a team does, and especially in soccer. I mean, we see it all the time where teams do so bad, but yet because of an individual or two phenomenal play, they end up scoring a goal and win 1-0, even though, they sucked. The whole team sucked. But, obviously we don't have that difference maker at this moment, but give somebody else an opportunity, And obviously the other people that are available to give opportunity are young kids or young guys, but those are the guys who are hungry. Trust me, if you would have put Thiago, Palomino, or Beto in that match, there would have been a lot of more effort. I'm sorry, I'm still thinking I'm on Finn's show. There would have been a lot of effort on that pitch. So, and at least I can leave saying that, okay, the team was out there battling, these young kids, but they're getting it together, they're getting it together. But you keep rolling out the same veterans, the same players that are supposed to be the A squad and the first team, and they're doing great and they're being marketed to us and all this, but we still keep seeing lackluster performances and not enough drive for them to try to win a game that they should have won, especially in those circumstances and that environment that we haven't seen in a long time at PNC Stadium. I mean, when does a coach say, you know what, let me just throw this guy out here?
And how perfect a match would it have been, the match before the debut match of Ache to trot out Palomino, even as a sub. The fans know who he is. Look, let's be realistic. They know who Palomino is. We've heard plenty about him. He's been plenty hyped up. He did it in USL. He's done it in USL. He's done it in MLS Next Pro. But he's not given a chance. And at some point, I got to point the finger at coach. No matter what the reason the coach may feel a player is not ready, if he's proving it in MLS Next Pro, at some point, you just got to call the player up and let him play. And to your point, maybe he's a different player in terms of at practice versus on the pitch during match day or whatever, but he's proven it. He's proven he's capable. The last thing, everything we've seen of Memo in so long has said that Memo is not even, remotely close to what we need out there, but yet he keeps trotting Memo out there.
And look, Sean, if they gave Palomino a chance and he just sucks, cool. Okay, I'm fine with that. Look, he sucks. Cool. We move on to the next person. But the thing is, he's still an unknown. We don't know. I don't know if he sucks. Like I can't tell you if he's up to par for MLS standards or if he's just a really good USL player. I can't tell you because the kid hasn't been given an opportunity. The same thing with Thiago. Look, I understand that Thiago might have a little bit of a harder time adapting than, let's say, Seca, because Seca's out there doing the damn thing. But okay, but like, let's get him out there. Let's give him a couple minutes. Let's give him, I haven't seen him since I think the last U.S. Open Cup game. Like where has he been at? So I mean, it's just one of those things where it comes to a point where, like, yes, I understand you want to build chemistry between these guys because this is your A team and these are supposed to be the guys you're supposed to go to battle with, and these are the veterans and these are supposed to be your goal scorers and your distributors and all that stuff and your anchors and all that. But I mean, dude, like these last 4 games, I think I remember one of the poll questions being how many points we were going to get out of the 3 games prior to Hector Herrera being onto the squad. Like, dude, just the fact that we only got 3 points from a lonely Chicago team who didn't have 2 other main players. It's sad. It's a sad thing to see.
And, people who watch this show regularly know I'm usually not a negative Nancy or a Debbie Downer. I'm somebody who traditionally, I'm an eternal optimist. I look at the bright side of things. I try to find the good that exists out there. But from what I've seen and from what I saw, I'm not seeing it right now. And I'm hopeful, honestly, that, when Ache debuts on Saturday, that it's gonna shut up, Mella. Damn it, I was on a track and roll and everything, but I'm hopeful that. Oh God, Mark, shut up. I'm hopeful, or maybe I'm trying to keep hope that when Ache debuts, that the rest of the players around him, he's gonna elevate their play enough, and there's been plenty of people that have said it, but Ache also can't do it on his own. He's not the guy that's going to score you the goals. He's not the guy that's probably going to be doing a lot of assisting necessarily. What is his primary role going to be when he starts? I mean, I don't even know that at this point because we have so many holes in places that need upgrades in the center of midfield, let alone just, everywhere else on the pitch. But it's oh, guys, I hate you so much. I love all of you, but I hate you at the same time. It's as a fan, it is exhausting to support this team when we should be seeing improvement consistently, and what we're seeing is spurts of improvement, but then regression, not only to the mean, but regression past the point of the middle of the pack. You know, we're nearing the bottom of the table again, midway through the season. We should absolutely not be here. 0 point in being here. But, you know, and I know Kenny brought this up earlier, you know, Pat has said it, Asher has said it, Ted has said it, and Paolo have said it, that we're bringing in another player. They're looking to sign another player this window. That's all great and well, but it's what I've seen so far. It's not happening. There's not enough cohesion. There's not enough chemistry. You know, things that were clicking before the international break suddenly just completely broke apart during the international break. You know, players that were on the same page, offensively and defensively, just lost that rhythm. You know, and so I don't know what the fix is. I mean, I don't want people to think that I feel like I'm a know-it-all and I know how to fix it. I have no idea how you fix this other than honestly sending a bunch of players away from this team and finding new ones to replace them and calling up Dynados players to replace them. I mean, I'm at the point, honestly, if Ache within 5 matches, if we've lost 4 out of those 5 after he debuts on Saturday, I'm prepared to say that Paolo was out at the end of the season. And I know it's 1 season, but we're in a business, and it's a business that you've got to win. And you know, if they've brought in Ache and Sebas, and that's not enough to find a way to win, and drafted Thor and have all these Dynados players that honestly could play at MLS level, then it's got to be coaching. It's got to be style of play. It's got to be tactical approach. It's, you know.
All I'm just saying is, can we go back to when we thrashed Galaxy 2-0? Now, I like that. I don't even
remember when that was in the season anymore. It was so long ago. You know,
I like that time period. I feel like we were real positive during that time period. But anyways, guys, you know, obviously
that was good, Mark. That was actually clean. I got to give you credit for that one. That was nice.
I appreciate it, man. I'm getting better.
To Kenny's point, that LA match was 3-0. Please do not dock us a goal. We need every goal we can get this season.
3-0. Sorry. Hey, even better. It was so positive. I can't even remember the goals, how much we beat them by. But yeah, man. Obviously, guys, you know, every time we have a show, we have a poll question of the day that we try to, you know, send out to you guys prior to the show, so that way we can interact and see where your heads are at or where your thoughts are as far as the, you know, what's going on with the Dynamo. And obviously rivalry week is this week. We have 2 matches. One here this Saturday is not only Hector Herrera's debut, but it's the Texas Derby. Frisco's coming into town. Obviously the game in Frisco was let's just say not a good experience because of multiple things that happened during that time, that match, but that's in the past. And then obviously on Tuesday, we play against Austin and at Q2 Stadium. So with that being said, out of those 2 games, man, Sean, how many points are you expecting to get out of these 2 games? Let me give you the choices. The choices are 6 points, of course, 3 to 4 points, 1 to 2 points, or none whatsoever. And with, you know, 75 votes, 41% say anywhere between 3 to 4 points, which means a win and a tie, or a win and a loss. So, Sean, what do you think? I know you said you don't want to be negative Nancy, you know.
Oh no, you about to see the negative side of Sean.
I feel like I kind of know where you're going to lean to, and I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, you know, I want to say, you know, we're shut up, Ben. Trying to talk. You know, I want to go into these matches with all the hope in the world, but what I'm seeing and what I've seen, Ache is not going to be enough.
No.
I'm genuinely going. We're taking 0 points out of these 2 matches. Frisco are playing phenomenally right now. I don't like Austin. I hate Austin with every fiber of my being right now.
Man,
they are genuinely a better team than we have right now.
Yeah, they're really the only other team keeping up with LAFC. I mean, obviously Seattle's making a late run because of obviously the late start that they had due to CONCACAF Conference League, but Austin's right there battling out with LAFC for Supporter Shield. So I mean, you can't deny the results, you can't deny the points. Those are facts, even though we hate to say it. The same thing goes for Frisco. They're right now currently, I believe, in 4th or 5th place on the table, so they're right in the mix for the playoffs. Their investments under offseason with Paul Arriola and Alan Velasco have paid off enormously because, obviously Jesus Ferreira is getting the distribution that he requires to score goals. I wish our Ferreira could get the distribution required to score the goals as well, but, that's neither here nor there. But, obviously Frisco has always been a little bit of step ahead, obviously with their academy players, the money that they've gained from selling players off like Brian Reynolds, Reggie Cannon, et cetera, et cetera. They finally decide to reinvest that money into the first team, and look what happens. They're a playoff contending team, maybe even an MLS Cup title contending team, depending on how well they can get everything gelling by that time period. Sean, I gotta agree with you, man. Like shit, man. It's with that effort, dude. If Frisco comes in here and beats us 4-0 in a sold out crowd, I hate to think that the fact that even came out of my mouth, I feel like I just threw up a little. It's gonna be a shitty Saturday afternoon, evening or nighttime or whatever. But I want to say that I'm hoping that the players are going to have enough pride, and they're going to see what happened this past week with Charlotte, and actually have some pride and have some dignity in themselves, and have some love for the badge on their kit, and go out there and actually make this a match. I mean, obviously we know we could have won the game in Frisco, right? But obviously that was an FC Frisco team that was still kind of getting to know each other, whatever. I think it was the 5th or 6th game of the season. But now they're running on all cylinders. So who knows? Maybe the gap between us and them has really widened that. But like I said, this is not just a game. This is a derby. This is a Clásico. You don't play a Clásico. You play to win in Clásicos. And they have to go out there and win. We're not playing for no tie. I see somebody talking about Dynamo or whatever. We're not playing for no tie or anything like that. You play these derbies to win. This is supposedly our main rival in MLS. We have to treat this game like it's our it's our championship, because it damn near may be for the season, So we need to go out there and thrash these guys, and not only because we need to show out against Frisco always and anytime we play them, but because of the added sauce of the fact that it's going to possibly be a sold out stadium for the first time in God knows how long. If you got to do it for that reason, just for that reason in itself.
Yeah. Man, this conversation tonight honestly is hurting me. Physically hurting me. It is. I am emotionally broken as a Dynamo fan right now. And it's sad because it took this to break me. Like, I've been through, I've been here since day one. I've been through the light, really terrible end of Dom's, tenure here. I went through the very light Owen Coyle and Wilmer Cabrera years, dealt with the terrible Tab years. And now we're playing Paolo ball. And again, it's, we've changed coaches, we've changed supposedly styles and tactics and formations and everything else. But at the end of the day, I'm seeing the same problems match after match. Even when we play well, even when we score a lot of goals, we're still giving up many chances. We're getting lucky when the other team is not scoring on us, or Steve Clark is standing on his gosh darn head. There's no mistake about it. We are not playing well defensively. We're not playing well in the middle of the pitch. We're getting overrun in the middle of the pitch more often than not. We're not playing well enough and synchronizing and playing passing, playing stylistic football up top enough at all. And, I don't get it, because to George's point here, as bad as we've been, how is the only player that we've seen consistently, or maybe the two players we've seen relatively consistently in the starting lineup every once in a while, how are, the young players, how are they Thor and Bartlow? How are they draft picks? How are we not seeing guys like Beto Avila more often? How are we not seeing guys like, if Juan Castilla's not ready, okay, fine. Marcelo Palomino, how are we not seeing more of him? We're not seeing any Papa Ndoye. Granted, he's not on an MLS contract. We haven't seen any of Ian Hoffman before he was loaned out to whoever he got loaned to in USL. I want to say it was somebody over North Carolina or something. I don't even remember. But it's just, I don't see any youth, and that really should have been one of the top primary things that we focused on this season, was getting our youth into the mix. And, we talk about consistency and wanting to give guys the best opportunities to succeed. And, especially for these veterans and that sort of thing. But the reality is, if you don't give the young kids minutes and continued and consistent minutes, they are never going to improve. Brooklyn Reigns, that's another great call out by Coldy.
Well, he can't. He's not eligible to play till next year because of the
he's
time.
Not. Yeah, he's not eligible. That's true. He's not eligible to be a Dynamo homegrown player until the end of the season. So that is one of those players that unfortunately we can't. But, and Tiaguinho, to me, he is a crappy player. He is not a great winger. He has moments, but not many. I don't know what people saw in him, the 2 or 3 opportunities he actually got out wide, because they were not great at all. He got lucky a couple of times, but that was about it. We know Memo ain't it. But I just keep coming back to, the same things. Go ahead, Mark.
So, okay. So, and then, that's just talking about Frisco. We haven't even spoken about the Austin game on Tuesday, because those guys are flying high as well. Look, man, it's one of those things where, we laughed when they sold back, or they loaned it to 2 other DPs from the season prior. But look at them. They had the nerve to sell 2 of their supposedly best players back out, and the team became better. Like you have to have that mentality of, yes, this might be my highest paid player. I might have spent X amount of transfer dollars to bring him in, whatever. But if he needs to go out for the better of the team, he needs to go away. Regardless if we look like fools because we brought this player in or not, or whatever, it doesn't matter. They took our number 9 from last year, and the guy scored as many goals as he did for us last season as for them right now. Maxi scored 6 goals for us last season? He scored 6 goals for Austin in half the time.
Yep.
It's not that the fact that these players don't have skill, or they don't have, a good sense of playing skills. They do. It's just that the team is not. It's not gelling. The team's not gelling. It wasn't gelling under Tab, because obviously Tab kind of made the situation kind of about himself. Paulo, obviously, look, I know this is the situation this is the problem that I had when they brought in Paulo. We tried it last time with a rookie head coach and Tab, even though he had experience in the youth level. But like I said, coaching youth players is totally different from coaching professional players. And then we went again and did the same thing. We hired Paulo, who coached the SK2s, or whatever you want to call them, youth players, to come coach professional players. We did it again, And this is no disrespect to Paulo and him. He might turn out to be a great coach, but at this moment right now, from what I've seen, we're basically going the same route. And at the end of the day, if we end up second to last or last place on this table, but let's say we got more points, but if we're still at the bottom of the table, the Western Conference, is it really an improvement?
Yeah, something to keep in mind too is, for anybody who says, well, it's the first year with the coach, whatever. Yeah, okay, that's fair, but it's also going to be your first half of season with Ache Ache. Are you willing to waste that? Waste away his first half of season on a coach who's unproven? Is the intention maybe that Ache Ache will get to pick his new coach at the end of the season? Is maybe that in the mix? I can't believe that would be in the mix. You had an opportunity to go get the coach you wanted, the coach that would make the most sense, and instead you went with Paulo Nagamura. Look, I was willing to give Paulo Nagamura the benefit of the doubt. He's given us a few opportunities, a few matches where he has shown from a coaching perspective capability. However, I continue to see the same struggles that I saw with Tab, the same struggles that I saw with Wilmer, the same struggles that I've seen with other coaches across the league time and time again. I don't really honestly care. I think Ache, if he was given the opportunity to play for another coach and he was able to pick his coach, he would not pick Paulo Nagamura. That would not be the coach that would be on his lips. Pat
is obviously going to say the right thing, the political thing, whatever. Obviously he's going to praise Paulo and everything that he's done, the attitude, the atmosphere, and the Dynamo team locker room is going to be better or whatever. That's what you got to say. You can't go out here and bash your coach, especially if that's the coach you handpicked yourself. And that's okay. Like I said, Paulo might end up being the best Dynamo coach in Dynamo history. Right? This is, like I said, look, he's been a head coach for a professional team for 18 games now, 20 games if you include the U.S. Open Cup. So okay, he's having a little bit of a rough start. That's understandable. But to your point, Sean, like you were saying, the thing is, why was this route chosen? The same route that the previous regime chose. It's one of those things where I understand where, hey, Paulo's a lot younger. He might understand them from a professional standpoint. He's not that far off from being a professional player himself. So maybe he can be more of a player's coach than if you came in and hired a much older coach or a much more experienced coach or whatever. I understand that. But at the same time, players respect coaches who've done things, who have notches on their belts, players will go to teams just for the coach himself. You get what I'm saying? Like when you bring coaches who have experience and have titles under their names or whatever, you can bring players from other players will sign for no reason, just because they like playing with that coach, because that coach made them better. Paulo doesn't have that right now. He's not that guy. He's not that guy. He's a rookie coach. The same thing that we have with Tab. We were all happy because, all these youth players are coming over to sign that he trained, that he coached in the youth ranks of the United States men's national team. But like I said, none of those guys have come to fruition. All those guys, even the main one, who was Marcelo Palomino, who was hyped to be our 10 for the next 10 years, he can't even get on the pitch. Not during Tab's era. And definitely not during Paulo's era. So I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I know right now we're just venting a little bit because of the outcome of the Charlotte match, and then obviously how well our two main rivals are doing. But this is how I feel. I need a vent. I need to get this out because I feel like we need to hold this team accountable. I try to bring as many people as I can to the matches when I go. I try to let the people. I'm always on text messages, group chats with my friends. Hey man, who wants to come to the game? Who wants to go to the game? This and that, blah blah blah. Let's go to the game. Blah blah. We got free drinks or whatever. And I'm trying to bring people in, And then when I bring them, for them to see the sorry performances that they give, it sucks, man. It makes it harder for me. I can't recruit.
I mean, yeah, I part of me has to think that there's some kind of plan going on behind the scenes. Maybe it involves Paulo, maybe it doesn't, but I just, what I'm seeing right now is it's not enough. And, I posed this question in the Surge Discord, and it's kind of made its way out to Twitter a little bit, but, I sit here, I have to wonder, I brought it up earlier, but I'm going to bring it up again. There's a ton of hype right now because of the Ache, debut coming up on Saturday. You figure give it, 3 to 4 matches. If the Dynamo don't show any improvement in those 4 matches, if they get blown away against Frisco and Austin, I don't think there's any chance that we see a continued uptick in attendance from the Ache signing. That's way too much pressure to put on a player too. Let's be realistic.
Yeah. And let me just put this little caveat on what you're saying real quick before you move on with what you're saying. And the bad thing about it is that Ache can come in and have the best games we've ever seen from a defensive mid or from a 6 or 8, wherever Paulo decides to play him, right? But the fact that he doesn't directly affect the outcome of a game is not his fault. That's not his position. You know, you can't expect him to come in here and be a double-digit assist guy or be a double-digit goal scorer. That's not his position. You know. And that's the problem. And I hope that people understand that as well, because it's going to be one of those things where, yes, this is our biggest signing of the franchise history, but he unfortunately plays a position that doesn't really decide whether or not this team is going to score more goals. You know, that's been the problem for the Dynamo, putting the ball in the back of the net. You know, that's been the problem for the last umpteenth amount of years. And Ache doesn't help improve that, honestly. You know, he can, like I said, he can be the best defensive mid or central midfielder for the rest of the season, and he might only have an assist or maybe a goal during that time period. But I mean, but that's not his fault. You know, it's not his fault.
Yeah, you know, and somebody brought it up earlier too that, you know, how much do you really place onto the coach versus the players? I mean, I think you have to say 50-50 at this point. You can't. No, we're not putting it all on Paulo at this point. You know, it's definitely not 100% on him. He's been given a terrible, you know, team.
He inherited a terrible team.
He inherited an absolutely terrible team. Same thing with Pat. And I you know, I just, we've brought in a few players. This team was competitive in the early part of the season. Suddenly it's the same dip that we're used to seeing. Yes, a lot of it is the same players. So yeah, you would expect the same results, but I think there's more to it than that. And, you know, you look at Fafa's, you know, desire to leave the team. I don't care what he says on social media. I don't care what you say about anything else. He's expressed it elsewhere. It didn't have to be publicly. He's expressed it to people. I am certain of that. So he doesn't want to be here anymore. He wants to leave. I have to question why that is. It's not because he's not getting minutes. He's been trotted out there quite a bit this season. So what is the real reason? What are we missing as fans that we're not able to see inside that locker room? What is going on? Is it because Fafa felt like he had the team and he felt like the team was his, and now Ache coming in, he knows it's no longer his team? I can't believe that. Fafa has to absolutely desire to play with a guy like Ache. I think the reality is that Paulo has lost this locker room, that there are some, I don't know who it is, there's some cancer that's left over from, you know, toxic players, left over, toxic mentality, left over from previous regimes, both in defense and offense. And I have to think that you know, and that it's not going to improve just because Ache is here. It's not.
Yeah. I mean, and look, you know, you guys know, obviously, how much I crapped on Fafa last season from the get-go, you know, and obviously... What?
No,
you know,
Mark.
You know, I mean, you know, and obviously he came up with a pretty good amount of numbers, whatever, at the end. But I mean, but still, I think it was kind of inflated numbers, in all honesty. Like I said, is he quick? Is he fast? Yes, for sure. He's one of the fastest players I've seen, you know, I wear a Dynamo kit. You know, my main concern with him was always, you know, too many offside calls, doesn't cross the ball well, doesn't create, and can't distribute. I mean, you know, if you're going to be a winger, all you can do is just run fast, and, you know, okay, run fast, I guess. But, you know, but at the end of the day, I need you to create as well. But, you know, with that being said, you know, he's been given opportunity. You know, he's made the most of his opportunity, obviously, at the end of the last season and a little bit to the beginning of this season. But, you know, obviously, and especially this last game with him scoring the goal from off of Darwin's assist, you know, but like I said, if a player that has no desire to be here, then let him leave, you know. Like I said, I don't know what the situation was, if it's from him, from his camp, or if it's from Paulo's side of the things or whatever, you know. Maybe Paulo has a different vision for him as far as being on the pitch. If I was like, nah, that's not the way I play, you know, because, you know, that's just not the way he plays, you know, and as a player, you have to defend what you know and how you're best suited to play. You know, obviously sometimes a coach can bring out the best of you and make you see from a different perspective, but like I said, that comes from experience and knowing how to work with professional players. And Pablo doesn't have that. And if a rookie coach who's never coached a professional team before is telling me, a player who's 31, 32, who's about to get out of the prime years of his playing career to play a position that I'm not used to or play out of position, then I'm gonna have an issue with that. So I can understand that. As much as I want to be for the team and all that, I still have to think for me as far as my playing career, because at the end of the day, if I'm transferred, if I'm sold, or if things don't work out here, I still need to find another place to go. And I don't blame him if that's the mentality, if that's the reason why all these rumors are flirting around him, whether or not he's going to stay or he's going to go. But I can respect that if that's the situation. But with that being said, look, a lot of contracts come off this season. We spoke about this offseason after this year. It's going to be a very interesting offseason, especially with Ted and Pat and those guys now fully in charge and being able to do what they can. Obviously we had high hopes as far as maybe we have a shot of making the playoffs, maybe as a 7th or 8th seed or whatever. But obviously looking at things now, that might not be the case. But it's we signed better level players. I mean, we signed a proven number 9 Sebas, which, like I said, look, he hasn't had the distribution that he's needed to succeed as far as goal scoring. I wholeheartedly believe Sebas would be at 10 plus goals at this moment if he just had a decent player to feed him the ball, But that's a start. He's one of our cornerstone players. Hector Herrera coming in, that's our second one. We still have a couple of players on the team who I think are going to be really good for the team. Seca is another player, so that's another position that I think we've hit on. Matias Vera, he's been on the team this is going on his 3rd or 4th season. He's been the best player for the team for the last 2 years. All he knows is this crap, and yet he still goes out there and gives 110%, which I can wholeheartedly admire. Because I know losing so much can affect the player sometimes, mentally, and he still goes out there and plays for that Dynamo kid. So you got 4 players right there, just off of those, just from those 4 that you can build a team around. And like I said, a lot of players are gonna be coming off, and we'll see what happens with next season. But we're not in the off season yet. We still have half a season to go. And maybe we can still salvage something and something miraculous can happen, but I'm not holding my breath for it. Like I said, Sean mentioned it earlier. I know that the front office is doing their due diligence and trying to see if they can find a winger type player to come help Sebas as far as attacking, or, even helping them with some crosses or whatever. We'll see what happens, because like at the end of the day, there's restrictions to this MLS roster, and unfortunately for them, they're really restricted as far as what kind of player they can bring in. I would love to see, a Gareth Bale here, or Alejandro Pozuelo, from Toronto, just given away to Miami. Dude, like that, when a transaction like that happens, it just blows my mind. Like, where did the Dynamo call? Did somebody contact somebody? Because Pozuelo is an MVP player from 2 years ago. Last season he had a bad injury, whatever. But my guy, he double-digit goal scorer, double-digit assist man. Led Toronto FC to the finals. They lost to Seattle, but that was the player you needed to distribute the ball to Sebas. Imagine a Herrera pass to Pozuelo to Sebas. That would have been perfect, but again, it didn't happen for us. I don't know what players they're looking at. Like I said, MLS trades within the league haven't really gone our way. Granted, that was Matt Jordan at the helm. We kind of picked up people's leftovers, and they became even worse junk when we got a hold of them. So I don't know, Sean. We'll see what happens, but I don't know what you want to add. I know the transfer window opens here tomorrow. Like I said, I don't know what they can do to surprise me as far as what kind of level of player they can bring in to actually help the team.
I mean, right now they got to make a move because all 3 DP slots are filled up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Teenage's contract is killing us, and his international slot is killing us. I look around MLS. You see players. You mentioned Gareth Bale. I would even say Chiellini going to LAFC. Virioni going to New England. That's a huge grab for them. Not as big of a grab, but Washington Caruso loaned over to Austin FC. Gaston Brugman going to LA Galaxy. All of these names that are being trotted out there. Some of them aren't as big. Some of them are pretty big names. But MLS is getting stronger. I was about to bring that up. MLS is getting a lot stronger. And, okay, you've brought in Ache, but let's look at your other, DP slots. I mean, yes, okay, I would argue Sebas is definitely earning his money as a designated player. But I would definitely say that Teenage isn't coming close to earning his, value as a, what you're paying for a DP as a defender. You mentioned Jesse Lingard. He's been... mentioned that he's made a trip here to the U.S. and he's in contact with and looking to potentially sign with a couple of MLS clubs. I think with where we're at right now, man, it's not in the cards. I just don't. It doesn't fit right now. I mean, who's going to give Lingard service?
It's one of those things, Sean. Obviously, those 3 DP spots are crucial to any MLS team. If you look at the title contenders and their DP slots and who's filling those slots, you see why they're title contenders. They don't miss. They didn't miss on those DP spots. Like you mentioned, Sebas is a player who I think he's going to be great for Dynamo, and he's going to be one of our highest goal scorers in the franchise history here. Like I said, I think Herrera. No, not this season, but I think Herrera is going to be a great DP as well. But then when you look at Teenage, obviously you brought him in from the Turkish league, whatever. You had high hopes, but you're spending a DP spot on a defensive player, and sometimes that's not maybe the best way to go with the restrictions that you have with the MLS roster, because your DP spot should really be going out to attacking creative players who can help lift the level of the team. The thing is, we're missing on our DP spots. We're not hitting on our high TAM players or whatever you want to call them. We're not really hitting, we're not hitting as much as we need to as far as the overall team. Like I said, like I mentioned earlier, we have Seca, we have Matias Vera, those players. Okay, cool. But that's like two, maybe 3 players out of 28, and that's not a good ratio, man. And like I said, I have a lot of confidence in Pat Onstad doing what he can do. And obviously, like I'll say it again, when the offseason comes, it'll be interesting to see how much Ted and Pat are really out there, getting these players, not just the DP spots, but the backbone of the team, the foundation of the team, the other 25 players aside from those 3 DP spots, But we'll see, man. We'll see what happens with that. But Sean, I want to get off the negativity a little bit. Let's talk about a little. Obviously the transfer window is opening up. And like you mentioned earlier. A lot of players are coming over, from Europe. We had Hector Herrera here, Ingzing from Napoli going to Toronto. What's the other Juventus player? You just mentioned them going to New England. Another Juventus player.
Virioni.
Yeah, and another one coming over to Toronto FC pretty soon. Then obviously Gareth Bale and Chiellini going to LAFC. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, as far as MLS, and obviously the league in itself it's a popular spot right now. It's kind of hitting really well with the World Cup being in the fall and players wanting to be in fit positions, be fit to when the World Cup comes around. So, I mean, just your thoughts overall with MLS and the attraction to these European players and them coming over, because we're not just getting the old 33, 34 or 35-year-old guy anymore. We're getting players that are going into their prime, they're 26, 27, 28. those are the players we're trying to target, and I think MLS is doing a really good job targeting them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree on that point, and I think we probably see more of that across the league happening, but that also is more frustrating as a Dynamo fan because, again, we've locked down, at least currently, our 3 DP slots, one of those being Teenage. Okay, maybe you try to restructure contract, but you can't do that till the end of the season. You've got a bunch of money sunk into Teenage, and he's not producing at that level. There are some great free agents that are out there right now that are dirt cheap, that could be had for I say dirt cheap, but it could be had for a relatively decent amount of money. I mean, just look at how much Gareth Bale went for. I mean, right wing Gareth Bale would have been amazing. He ain't even a DP for goodness sakes. We didn't even need to use a DP slot.
Man, see, I don't know. I mean, look, I understand that the city of Los Angeles is an attraction, the city of New York as well. But dude, I mean, that right there in itself, when you get a player of that caliber, to go to LAFC, which is the number 1 team in the league right now currently, I mean, it just boggles the mind sometimes. I mean, I look, you got to give it up to that front office because they go out there and they make things happen. When we think they can't do any better, boom, they go out and pull this. Regardless if Gareth Bale works out or not, if Gareth Bale comes in here motivated, man, watch out. If he doesn't care, he's just trying to run around, stay fit for the World Cup, fine, cool, whatever. But the fact of the matter is that you brought a 5-time Champions League winner, a Real Madrid legend to MLS, not on a DP level, a DP contract, on a TAM contract, of all things, TAM. This Gareth Bale could easily be playing for a top-notch team right now for next season. Easily could have gone back to Spurs. Easily could have played for a team in Spain, Italy, anywhere. But LAFC got to him. So props to those guys.
Yeah, there's actually a right winger, technically I guess a left winger out there that that I would honestly go for before Jesse Lingard if it was me personally. And
I'm out.
Hold on, I gotta find him again in my list here. Adnan Janozai. Anybody who knows Janozai knows how good he is. He plays for the Belgian national team. He is currently out of contract. He's a free agent, no transfer fee having to be paid, which means you could probably make him a TAM player. He's only 27, so he's young. He's a left-footed player, but he plays as a right winger. And he's actually less expensive value on the transfer market than Jesse Lingard. He played in the Premier League. He played for Man United, Sunderland. And he just recently finished playing for Real Sociedad in La Liga. And his contract is now over. I mean, there's players out there is all I'm saying. And, if you're not at least trying to make contact, I mean, in La Liga, he had 15 goals and 15 assists. Does that not sound like the type of player we want to play?
And like I said, I admire the pursuit of Hector. Because, now that we're seeing everything unfold from all these, videos and interviews from back then, whatever, it just, and the fact that, the way Hector talks about, how Pat and Ted and everybody got involved with persuading him that he should come to MLS and join the Dynamo. It's a great thing to see. But but okay, you got him. We on to the next one,
Yep.
Like this is the difference between, a club that's been there, done that, as opposed to a club that's never done anything. And the Dynamo, unfortunately, have never done anything. So right now we're so infatuated with Hector Herrera fever that we're just like, cool. He's here. He's about to play. He's about to solve all our problems. This and that. He's about to cure cancer. This and that. All that stuff. And it's like, nah, man. Like, for the true soccer fans that know how soccer works, like, nah, this ain't gonna be. This ain't it. This is great. This is a great start. Don't get me wrong, but this ain't it. And we gotta keep it going because right now we've announced Hector Herrera, but like I said, like LAFC. First place team. They've already now announced Gareth Bale, Kalani, and they have a DP spot open.
Yep.
Whether or not that's Jesse Lingard or whoever else, you best believe that they're going to bring somebody to fill in that DP spot that's going to be of or above average level MLS, and it's going to come in and help them achieve whatever goal they have. and their goal is championship or nothing. So we have to keep with that mentality, we can't, okay, great, this happened. We did the whole week. The whole week was just great vibes and everything leading up to it. Yeah, fantastic. New week. What are we doing now?
Yep.
What's going on now? So we'll see.
Definitely agree. I'm going to throw a topic out there that I wasn't really planning to talk about, but I'm glad Evil Death brought it up because it was something that happened yesterday. Alessia Putellas for Spain. Especially them heading into the World Cup, for them, that's a huge blow. Tore his, I think it was his ACL.
Her ACL.
Her ACL. And she was playing really well for Barca. So just real bad. Real bad.
The Ballon d'Or winner for the best female player of that year. Obviously Barcelona, they won their treble in their league. They were Champions League finalists. They lost to Lyon, I think it was. But I mean, she's fantastic player, man. Player.
Not to make light of it, she heard that Amoros was going to NWSL, and she's like, "Oh, I don't have to play no more."
Man, but fantastic player. I mean, like I said, it's a shame, especially I think the women are playing Euros this year.
Yeah, Euros. That's what it was. I said World Cup. I meant Euros.
Yeah, Euros. Shout out to Rachel Daly in England. I think they won today. I can't remember the scoreline.
Yeah, they did. They won.
So shout out to those girls as well, and it's a great time for women's soccer, obviously.
I didn't intend this to actually be a transition into the final topic of the day, but it does work out really well that I'm that good.
There you go.
But Rachel Daly, she played really well today. I'm kind of curious to see now that Amoros is in the process of making his way over here. And everything else is, is kind of working itself out, with Sarah Loden staying around. I do have to kind of wonder if we could see a player like a Putellas coming eventually to the Dynamo. I mean, that's going a bit far, but, the allure of NWSL for players in Europe has to be extremely high. And all right, Mark. All right. I see that, buddy. But, the allure of NWSL has to be strong, and a coach like Amoros coming over to NWSL, he's got connections, and Ted has money. You have to believe that they could potentially work it out. Now we've got to wait and see who the GM is going to be for the Dash. We know that they're going to hire a GM at some point before the end of the season, and I'm just saying, nothing is off the table when it comes to the Dash in terms of signing a new player internationally, or trades for that matter. We saw Ebony Salmon come in, and nobody saw that coming.
That's a good signing.
That's a great signing. But let's real quick talk about continuing the chain of frustration, as we shall call it.
Yes, it wasn't a good week for Houston teams.
It wasn't. The Dash lost at home to North Carolina Courage in a 2-1 match. But here's the thing: the Dash were missing, and this isn't an exaggeration, 7 players to international duty. 5 to 6 of those were starters. That's over half of your starting lineup that are starters or would be starters that are off on international duty. I mean, that is for any team in NWSL, but the Dash definitely felt it. I felt like, even with that, I still felt like they played a pretty decent game. The 2 goals given up to me, one of them was kind of one of those situations where I thought that Jane Campbell probably should have saved it, but it just was a little bit outside her reach. And then the other one was just kind of a lucky type of situation. But it was a fun match to be at. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, and it's kind of just another situation as far as or another example as far as we mentioned last week when we were talking about obviously there being, the choice of going to post or going to the Dash game, and, all the support coming out for the Dash ladies, obviously, kind of bashing the Dynamo front office. That's like, come on, dude, like, are you serious? Why does this have to be on top of it, with the game, So it would have been nice for the ladies to be able to get a win, to show out for the supporters that, made it out to the game, and to show, that kind of, just thanks for coming out and things like that. Obviously we know that the ladies always stay after the game and sign jerseys, take pictures and all that great stuff. And shout out for them for always doing that. But yeah, man, it wasn't a good week for soccer for the city of Houston, and yeah, it's hopefully next week is better. Obviously we're gonna have a lot of girls out. Maria Sanchez with Mexico, Daly with England, as we mentioned earlier.
Three Canadians: Alicia Chapman, Michelle Prince, Sophia Schmidt with Canada.
Yes, all of them.
Not Sophia Schmidt. It's not
Sophie Schmidt.
Sophie Schmidt. Thank you. Yeah, I was like, I know it's not Sophia. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sanchez greater than HH. Oh, I don't know about that.
So but as a team, you have to understand that these things come up, and you have to be ready to fill those gaps. And the dash. Hopefully once they get their GM situated, and when Juan Carlos comes in and he's able to get a grasp of the team, he'll be able to better that situation and kind of right that ship a little bit. But in the future, we have to understand that if we're going to bring in high level talent, whether it be on the women's side or the men's side, we have to understand that they're going to leave for international breaks and go play for their national teams. And we have to be ready for those time periods where we don't have them. That's why depth is so crucial.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a struggle when you have no pipeline for young players currently, Dash players, to be able to really, build themselves up to NWSL playing level. They're going off to college, getting college years, and then getting drafted. You look at teams like Seattle or teams like Portland, and, they're signing players at 15 years of age that are starting in NWSL and starting, playing for the U.S. Women's Youth National teams. It's a bit frustrating to see, because that's another untapped area of youth development and players that we've just continued to not pursue and not make a sorry, what did I miss? Not make a concerted effort to support them in the way that they deserve to be supported. But even with that said, even to your point, even when players, big international players are out, your Rachel Daly's, Maria Sanchez, etc., when those players are out, you need the rest of your team to step up. You need the rest of the players to step up. Like I said, even though it was a 2-1 scoreline, the Dash played really well. They had opportunities. They were figuring some things out on the fly, but I felt like they were always in that match. And so, yeah, it was a great turnout. I think in general, it wasn't a huge turnout because it's, to be honest, it's a Houston Dash. And Houston apparently doesn't support women's soccer. Yeah, I'm calling every one of your asses out. But for those that made it out there, there's an atmosphere that's begun to get formed, getting formed for the Dash, being formed for the Dash quickly. And it is, it is starting to ramp up to a different level. And, I've heard it from various places outside of the supporters groups that it has been well received, that, the other fans are really enjoying it and loving it. Yes, I will be at the match on Saturday. Kyle and I should theoretically be in the same place at the same time. We are not the same person, I promise. Wow.
I wonder I thought you were ignoring me purposely this past Sunday.
No, bro, no. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, but for real, like, if you haven't made it out to a Dash match, this is the time to make it out. Or, hey, cool, wait until the international players are back. I get that. I can understand that. I can empathize with that. That's fine, whatever. Just make sure you make it out to at least 1 or 2 Dash matches before the end of the season. I think there's only 5 or 6 home matches left, maybe 5 at this point. But you definitely want to make it out. The vibe, the atmosphere, the people that are out there, the love that's out there, and the players are giving their all. And if you got pissed at the way that the Dynamo played on Saturday, guess what? The Dash played infinitely times better and have played infinitely times better. So look, why would you support the Dynamo when you can go support the Dash right now? I'm going to flip the damn script. I'm a little heated about my Dynamo. What can I say?
Yeah, guys. So, we got 5 minutes on the show. I don't know if anybody has any questions on the chat that they want to ask, or, if anything else that you want to talk about, Sean, before we there
is something I want to talk about. I really want to talk about this. Congratulations to Arsenal on signing, what was his name? That player that nobody cares about, Gabriel Jesus. Jesus.
The better Brazilian.
The better Brazilian,
Than the Richie. What's the other guy's name? Richie, Little Richie?
Little Richie? You're talking about Richarlison? The guy.
Yeah, Richarlison, yeah. So,
all I'm going to say is this. The work that Daniel Levy, Antonio Conte, and Fabio Paratici have put in this offseason for the Spurs, holy crap. I'm gonna be honest with you. Look, and I know you see this. The Spurs are trying to create that separation from Arsenal right now, and they are doing it.
Look,
I like Mikel Arteta. I actually do like Mikel Arteta. I did when he was with Arsenal. At
the end of the day, Sean, the thing about Spurs that everybody's gonna knock over is when they are gonna win some damn trophies. Look, you have the best forward in English history.
Hey, Mark.
To some people.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. Keep talking, buddy. I'm gonna be waving at you on Thursdays, watching your team play on Thursdays because we're gonna be playing on Wednesdays, son. So get out my face.
But look, when we lift that Europa League title and we're in Champions League
next
year,
League, my ass. You're gonna bow out in the second round, friend. You might make it out of the group stage. And the only reason Spurs were not in the group stage this year didn't make it out of the group stage is because they got absolutely screwed by COVID and by Rennes not wanting to make the trip to London.
That sounds like excuses, man. I mean,
where was Arsenal?
Hey, we weren't playing in there either. It's all good.
Right.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Y'all got the same amount of trophies as we got this season, so it's all good. Congratulations.
Except because nobody had trophies, we got to look at that table. And Arsenal had an opportunity to slam that door shut. Lost to Newcastle, lost to Spurs, couldn't get it done.
It's all right. Look.
Damn, dude. Like, y'all had points on us, and then you didn't have points on us.
And we talked about this yesterday with Finn because Finn wanted to get into it too. Look, this is your golden generation or whatever, your golden age. Enjoy it because it's going to end, but at least win a trophy, man, because at least during the time when we were during our golden generation, we did something that nobody else has done and probably would never do again. Perfection in the league. We got to the Champions League final. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way it was supposed to go. We lifted up multiple amounts of league titles, FA Cups, Carabao Cups, whatever you want to call them. So I mean, lift a trophy, get a trophy.
All I know, and I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna be realistic with you right now. Arsenal finished outside the top 6 this season because Manchester United signings this offseason have separated them from Arsenal. I was willing to give Arsenal the benefit of the doubt going into the offseason because everybody was better than Man United in that top 6. Man United under Ten Hag have signed some of the greatest, have absolutely retooled where they needed to retool. And I'm not a United fan. I am absolutely not a United fan.
But they haven't done anything.
No, they've made some great signings, buddy. You need to be careful.
We'll see.
You need to be careful.
Look, we'll see. But regardless of the fact, we'll see. The EPL starts in August. We're gonna be right there. We're gonna be fighting back and forth. But obviously, guys, we're coming to the end of the show.
North London is lily white.
Less than a minute
Throw the
left.
H's up, baby.
Yeah. So until Acha hits that pitch, we're still throwing up the double H's, so two H's up, and hold it down always.